We'll keep the focus on the players. There's a little bit of a scuffle in the background there involving you and Guy. It seems to have resolved itself. They've made up with each other, and play will continue with Durham on the front foot. A lovely twist and turn there from Mikey Ford, a converted back rower, I should say, of Durham University, playing in the centres. Marcus Rhodes with a heavy carry, trying desperately to break that Cardiff Met brick wall. Durham might have found a gap there, but Chapman said otherwise. Langton with a great bit of pressure on the Durham attack there, and Durham conceding the penalty there by sealing off at the ruck, essentially meaning that Cardiff Met could not compete and stop them competing illegally. So Cardiff Met now have a chance to clear their lines and get up the pitch and get into the Durham half. Griff, that was another great defensive set there from our archers.
Yes, it was. And that's what we have to see in this game. We're used to now Met being able to defend in their own half, especially now against Hartbury away and Bath away. They've had less than 50% of the possession, and in similar conditions, I must say as well. So they're comfortable in this situation and they're confident. So I wouldn't put it past them to keep Durham from reaching that whitewash at all in this match, and just keeping them to penalties only.
Fantastic hands there from Barney Langton in the air, and Met set up what looked to be another dangerous driving ball, but a knock-on as the ball was moving forwards in that maul from Cardiff Met means possession is turned over again to Durham University, which gives me, whilst I set up this scrum, a great opportunity, Griff, to ask you how amazing it is, despite the conditions, to see so many Cardiff Met supporters out here at Rugby 1 on Cyncoed campus backing their archers.
It's fantastic, James. They look tremendously wet, I'll tell you, but no, tremendous. It's class, because when we have like this support coming out in these conditions, it'll only help the team. As they mentioned multiple times, the fans are the 16th man, the ultras. Their chants, their support, everything, it just helps the team go along. And that's why Cyncoed is such a big fortress, and it's a tough place for teams to come and win. They can't get points here, and it's proven time and time again that the ultras play a big part in that.
Absolutely. I love the signs coming into this pitch now. Fortress Cyncoed. This is our pitch, this is our turf. And the Cardiff Met boys are certainly putting up a fight this evening to defend that honour and to defend what is their patch of grass in the BUCS Super Rugby League. Durham setting up quite wide in this attacking scrum. Met do have both Ethan Morgan and Ewan Bowden back in defence, sitting quite deep, potentially expecting Durham to kick the ball away. And they will try and hack it through the middle. And it's a difficult ball to pick out, and it has been knocked on by Ethan Morgan. It's so treacherous, these conditions as a back, Griff, when that ball is bouncing and bobbling towards you. You can't predict where it's going to go, and you don't know how difficult it's going to be to catch either.
I mentioned in the studio earlier that the kicking game was going to be a big part of this match, and we've already seen it, with one kick going into the goal line, and now another kick spilt by Ethan Morgan. And I think tactically, it was the right choice to get a traditionally number 10 player, a fly half in fullback, because he can ping these balls back at them. And I think Met need to do that at the moment. They need to ping this ball, play in Durham's half. Most of the play has been in the Cardiff Met's half at the moment, so it's a game of territory at the moment, and Durham are winning it.
Absolutely, and we do see that high ball utilised from Durham straight away. Pressure coming in from Durham, though, chasing the ball down, trying to get the Cardiff Met defence to make a mistake. But, however, the referee has said that was not a fair tackle. It was a tackle in the air, in fact, so a penalty for Cardiff Met. Sees a sigh of relief, almost probably, coming from the Cardiff Met coaching staff as they look on in these miserable conditions. But a fantastic high ball from Patrick Bishop. Griff, we're definitely going to see that utilised throughout the match.
I think they were a bit unlucky there. From my angle here, I thought it was a fair contest in the air. So, yeah, it's going to be awfully tough in these conditions, because These floodlights also play a big part, especially on a night like this. If that ball goes through the floodlights in your sight of view, it's tough to catch then. So especially with the rain as well. So yeah, big part, as you say.
More numbers in the line out there for Cardiff Met, and the safe-keeping hands of Barney Langton claim the ball for Met. And again, another driving maul, trying to get closer and closer into the Durham half, and they have now broken into it, and they're still going forwards. I believe it's Elliot Salt at the back there with the ball. Morgan opting for a high kick of his own doing, and it's bounced away from everyone. Paul Brown of Durham went to try and catch it, and the subsequent line out has been awarded to Durham, much to the dismay of the Ultra fans. Griff, that looked like a bit of messy, greasy, wet play there.
It was, yeah. The ball was bobbling like a pinball there. That's what we can expect from this game, really. The weather is so tough out there, and we've seen the kicking game being utilised by both teams, but I still like to see Cardiff Met playing a bit deeper in Durham's half. We're seeing a bit of space on this right-hand side here, this near side. I would like to see maybe a little chip in behind there, just turn Durham's defence around and just put pressure on them in their own 22.
Durham University trying to give Cardiff Met a taste of their own medicine with a driving maul at the line out there with reduced numbers, and it seems to be working so far. They are steadily walking their way up this pitch. Joe Westwood is gesturing to his number 15, Ethan Morgan, to get across the pitch because he thinks that's where the danger's going to be. And the kick is charged down successfully by Cardiff Met, and Twetti gathers the ball in the middle of the park. He almost looked to wriggle free there. Morgan is working with quick ball, which he hacks further up the pitch for Cardiff Met. Chapman, one of those ones up in defence, but it's none other than Jake Thomas who put the pressure on first with the kick chase. Durham will be wanting to work with quick ball just the same as Cardiff Met, but a lovely bit of ruck play there from none other than Bertie Taylor, getting over at the ruck, strong on his feet, low body position. Those sorts of scenarios are so hard to defend against, aren't they, Griff?
Oh, they are. So if you can get a low body position in that ruck, it's going to be monumental in that battle of the heads, as they call it. If you get lower, you're going to probably win the battle. So yeah, big part in this game so far. As we're having a Cardiff Met penalty line out here. It's going to be a tough line out in these conditions, isn't it, James? So we'll have to see what happens.
I certainly want to know what Barney Langton has put on his hands this evening. That is obviously some very strong, sticky spray. And I think the carpet industry would be very intrigued as to whether they can get their hands on it as well, as he leaps into the air like a salmon and claims the ball clean and crisp. And Cardiff Met can start marching their way further up the field now, getting closer and closer into the Durham 22, but just repelled out. Cal says he's not satisfied with where they are. He wants to get inside, but Morgan says it's enough. Takes it to Roderick Evans, who offloads to Westwood with a sniping run. A lovely looping pass to try and get wide to the channel, so where Hugh and Bowden is. I got way too excited there, Griff. It was a wonderful bit of play from Cardiff Met. Great set of work with the ball in hand. A lovely attacking shape. I so wanted them to be able to pull that off and for Bowden to go flying across that far touchline to us and score a try.
It was beautiful play. It was obviously something from the training ground. Hitting that ball up in midfield from Joe Westwood.
Westwood with a sniping run.
We've seen it 2 weeks ago. A
lovely looping pass to try and get wide to the channel, so where Hugh and Bowden is. Westwood with a sniping run.
Game. And yeah, we saw him breaking that gain line again, getting Met into the 22, and some quick ball then to Bradley Roderick Evans, trying to spread that ball wide, but unable to hold on to it was Ewan Bowden.
Cardiff Met will be defending the scrum. Is this a Durham input? But they're holding firm here. Durham will go with the clearance kick from Bishop. It's bobbling, it's bouncing, it's bounding down the pitch, but it's cleared cool as you like it. Cool as a cucumber, some would say, Griff, by none other than Ethan Morgan. Back down the pitch into the Durham half. We've got some updates from across BUCS Super Rugby though for you quickly. Whilst we have this little break before the line out, Leeds Beckett versus Hartpury, that ended in a 41-20 victory for Hartpury University. And the latest on Swansea versus Exeter is Swansea Uni 8, Exeter University 7. And full time between Nottingham and Bath saw Nottingham lose at home. What I believe might have been the first time this season. Nottingham 10, Bath 28, full-time score there. Lots of close contests, lots of big results coming across BUCS Super Rugby. And at Cyncoed campus here, we're still 0-0 as Langton put some serious pressure on there in the Durham line-out, and it was knocked on by Billy Hipperson in the line-out for Durham University. So the referee is calling a scrum with a Cardiff Met input, and the power that Cardiff Met have at their disposal in their front row and their second row, Griff. I think they fancied themselves here for a little drive. Maybe they could claim a penalty and put some points on the board in these early encounters.
Well, we remember that scrum dominance they had against Nottingham here about 3 weeks ago. And it was spectacular to see, wasn't it, really?
As a forward, Griff, I really enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it? I mean, you're a back. You must have loved it.
Yeah, I was excited about that. And I hate scrums. But, yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so we'll certainly hope to see more of this in this game, because it's a massive base for them to play off.
That was a ferocious scrum from either side, and a brilliant carry there in the middle of the park from Tueti. Morgan was looking for a sniping. Jake Thomas, who's found the gap in the middle. He stepped the last defender. Is he going to get there underneath the post? He does! Jake Thomas with the first try of the game for Cardiff Met. A fantastic piece of work there from the right winger. That has to be one of the tries of the season, Griff. That was amazing.
I was so close to shout at the ref there. He was in the way out of the talk because the pod was lined straight in behind him. But Jake Thomas coming off his wing and finding that gap between the ruck and the bodyguard. An excellent line. And a brilliant step at the end as well to go under the post. A superb try from Jake Thomas. An excellent running.
That was straight off the training ground here at Cyncoed campus. Jake Thomas being put into a gap by none other than Bradley Roderick Evans, who will go for the conversion now for Met's first try of the game, and that has certainly got the crowd energised, Griff. I don't know about you, but it certainly got me energised. I'm almost lost for words at that. A lovely bit of play from the winger.
It opened up for him like the Red Sea. That was brilliant. He just went straight through, and then this brilliant step then for the full-back coming across and going straight under the post. It was a superb try from Jake Thomas, and excellent running lines as well. But as I say, I thought the ref was in the way then from the pod, and I thought it was just like a last-minute ditch to get someone onto the ball and cross the gain line. But little did I know, that was a training ground move, and an excellent move it was as well.
Well, it's obviously not just the weather that's biblical this evening, because Jake Thomas, as you say, parted them like the Red Sea, and Langton with a cleaner take than that first reception at the beginning of this half, supported well by his Met teammates. Cardiff Met will look to get themselves down the pitch and scoring again, because that was a beautiful bit of play to see. Morgan just giving his captain some orders to form in the line. As the box kick is made, but it's spilt. It is spilt by Marcus Rhodes as he went to collect the ball. So Cardiff Met will have the input to the scrum. Griff, that high kick doing exactly what either team wanted to do so far this evening.
It has. I know that was an excellently weighted kick there. I was worried a bit because the number 8 had a bit of momentum coming onto that ball. Would have made a bit of an impact on that Cardiff Met chase, but didn't catch that ball. Went straight down the tunnel, and Met have a good opportunity here to pounce off for a strike move from just into the Durham half. So yeah, excited about this. Let's see what Met can do, really.
Bit of an early push coming from this Durham loosehead side of the scrum as the referee calls a straight reset. It won't phase the experience of this Cardiff Met front row. Elliot Salt in at this tight head side. I'm sure the 125 kilo prop won't have any issues with how scrummaging's been so far, and he will be over the moon, I would say, Griff, to be joined by Welsh under-20s loosehead and hooker Joe Cowell and Connor Chapman respectively. It's such a strong front row for Cardiff Met. It
is, especially when you've got Joe Cowell, the captain, that's played for Cardiff Rugby last year. So yeah, an excellent front row, and a powerful one, as we've seen against Nottingham. I keep going back to that because I found that unbelievable.
It doesn't move an inch, Griff, but a lovely hack through from Roderick Evans, and it's spilt! It's been spilt by Bishop under pressure from the Cardiff Met. Charging defence. And the referee has called the knock on. We are 5 metres out in this position, Griff, from the Durham try line. Put yourself in the shoes of Bertie Taylor, the Cardiff Met number 8. Do you pick and go from this position, or do you trust Bradley Roderick Evans in your backline because it's already worked so far this game once?
Well, if I'd be Bertie Taylor, I'd be licking my lips at this opportunity here. Midfield scrum. You've got both backs either side. That means the defensive line will be stretched out. The scrum half, will be following Met's scrum half. So Bertie Taylor's got a good chance here to run in, stay tight to the scrum, and hopefully we can get a bit of a drive from the scrum itself, get us closer to the try line. But yeah, an exciting position this, isn't it?
Absolutely. We're about 25 minutes gone. Cardiff Met are currently up 7 points to 0 against Durham University in the BUCS Super Rugby League here at Cyncoed campus on Rugby 1. And it is Taylor. I thought he was going to pick and go. He went for a little pass off to Joe Westwood. It didn't pull off, but a penalty conceded by Durham at the scrum. And just when Paul Brown thought he had been gifted the ball by Cardiff Met and he could run down the pitch, the referee pulls them back for a penalty. And it looks as though Roderick Evans is going to take the 3 points. Griff, would you say that that's the correct decision?
Wise option, I think, because hitting a line out 100% off the top in these conditions can be a horrendous task. So from the trusty boot of Bradley Roderick Evans, I think that's the good option, because keep the scoreboard ticking over. We'll be 10 points, a score and a penalty ahead now of Durham if this goes over. And going into second half, if we can keep this lead, that'd be a great advantage to go into the half.
Absolutely. Roderick Evans lining up what will probably be one of the easier kicks of his career, Griff. I know the conditions are against him, but he's in a great position for it. And he does indeed nail it. It's 3 extra points for Cardiff Met, which takes the scores to Cardiff Metropolitan University 10, Durham University 0 in this BUCS Super Rugby fixture on Cyncoed campus, on the Rugby 1 pitch, the famous, the infamous Rugby 1 pitch, Griff. Fortress Cyncoed. 10-0 after just about 27 minutes, Griff, is a fantastic position, but Durham have worked well on this kickoff, and it's Ollie Walker who gathered the ball just beyond the 10-metre line. Cardiff Met caught snoozing a little bit there, but they seem to have turned it over at the ruck, and Captain Cow will come away with it. But the ball's everywhere, it's spilt out again. And Durham University have been awarded the penalty for holding on the floor against Cardiff Met. Griff, what have we just witnessed?
A bit of a mess there, right on the edge of the Met's 22. I was hoping Met would have regained that ball, because there was a bit of space on the far side, because Durham dropped 3 players into the backfield, so Met would have been in acres of space. But it hasn't worked out that way, and now Durham have a line out in Cardiff Met's 22, which is bad news for Cardiff Met, as this can be a great scoring opportunity for Durham.
Absolutely. Joe Cow will be relying on all 8 of his forwards to stop this ball moving any closer to his team's try line, but it's overthrown by Durham, and it looked to be gathered by Ewan Guy, but it's just evaded his grasp. Everyone was looking up for a potential knock-on, but the referee says play on, so we will keep going with the rugby here. As Durham looked to carry forward, with Marcus Rhodes. A great hit in defence there from Jake Thomas, bouncing the Durham University player, I should say, off him. Bishop taking the ball forward, he seems to have found a gap, but Joe Westwood has shut that down very quickly. But it's none other than Rhodes again, who went for a pick and go from the base of the ruck. The ball flew around everywhere there on the floor. Cardiff Met coming up in defence to meet them. This is one of the most crucial moments of the game for Cardiff Met. They will not want to let Durham score. They are repelling them back with every hit. They are throwing their whole bodies into every single collision here. Just trying to ease them back away from the try line, but the referee has given Durham the advantage, so Durham have switched the side of play in which their backs are lining up, and they'll switch it again. Paul Brown seems to be doing a lapse of this pitch, going from side to side. Durham making a mistake there, being forced by the Cardiff Met defence, applying the pressure well. He will award them the penalty. Rhodes with the ball in his hands. Is he going to go quickly, or will they look to get on this scoreboard? And they opt to go for the posts. Griff, I've never seen something so intense as that in the last 3 weeks of BUCS Super Rugby. Every Cardiff Met player threw their body on the line there.
They'll be proud of that defensive set there. If Durham get this kick, which they, let's be honest, they should, that'll be a 3 points then and a 7-point advantage for Cardiff Met. So I think they'll be okay with that result. Considering the fact that they were under massive pressure in their own 22 on the 5-metre line. So yeah, a good result for Met in the fact that they've kept them out to only 3 points, but I think they'll be disappointed to let that go right from the kickoff from their own 3 points that they had it down in Durham's half.
Will Nicholson nailing the 3 points there for Durham University. He hates a drop goal, Griff, but he loves a kick from the tee, and he's just shown it there. That was taken extremely confidently, just tapping the ball over the post between the sticks. 3 points on the board for Durham. The score now reads Cardiff Metropolitan University 10, Durham University 3 in this BUCS Super Rugby fixture down here in the Welsh capital at Cyncoed campus. And it's Paul Brown who's gathered the ball well for Durham. He's trying to work his way back in field, potentially finding a break. And he has found a big hole in the middle of the field between the Cardiff Met defence, eventually brought down by the retreating Joe Westwood. And Durham, with some quick ball, looked to apply some pressure. Bishop! He looked to offload to one of his own players, but no, it's Jake Thomas who scooped it up for Cardiff Met, who now have the ball, but not in a position they thought they would be. Durham certainly have their tails up after that, Griff.
They were running through the middle of the park there like a ball in a china shop. It was brilliant. But from a Cardiff Mets point of view, that was poor defence really. He ran through about 4 defenders there. If it weren't for Jake Thomas's interception right on this near side here, they would have been in a bit of trouble. So yeah, even though they're in absolutely torrential rain, we're seeing Durham pushing it with those intricate offloads from the number 10. So yeah, it's exciting play so far. But a
great charge down from Barney Langton. We've seen him do this before. Great pressure and a hit coming in on Bishop just before he made the pass. But he did manage to get away successfully, and Durham will find themselves on the attack, but thrown straight into touch by Will Nicholson, who was trying to snipe his way up this pitch. And so Cardiff Met have an option here. It's thrown out forwards into touch. So it'll be interesting to see what Captain Cowell goes for here, as Elliot Salt is just taking a moment to get up off the floor in this pitch. He seems to have taken a slight knock there. So it gives us a moment, Griff, as the ref calls time off. Gives us a moment here, Griff, to talk about the last time that these two teams met. The conditions were torrential. Met didn't come away with the win, unfortunately. So Durham have got a good track record of coming down to Cyncoed.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll take a lot of confidence from that, Durham will. Because, as I said at the start of the programme, this is a fortress for Cardiff Met. It's a renowned place with the 16th man, the Ultra. So they'll take big confidence from that. But Met have been on top so far. They've turned the screw. They've started playing in Durham's half, and yeah, so Met will be happy with that last, except for the penalty, of course, and that lacking concentration from the restart. But overall, some good performances from Met, good defensive sets. We've seen Joe Cowell put in a few thumping tackles so far. So yeah, it's been a good start overall for Cardiff Met, in my opinion.
Absolutely, and we've seen Elliot Salt now back on his feet. Back, ready for another scrum. I'm going to hit you with a quick interesting fact here, Griff. Did you know Elliot Salt can actually recite pi to 50 decibels?
Really?
Decibels, sorry. I didn't say decibels. Why did I say decibels? My father would not be impressed with that. Decimals. That's quite impressive from the tight head prop.
50?
50? I'm not sure if it's true. I haven't tested it.
No, yeah.
I definitely will one day, as we see Rory Morgan put the ball in the scrum that Salt's involved in. Durham caving under the pressure there, and Cardiff Met win the scrum penalty. Another formidable shove from that fantastic front row of Cole, Chapman and Salt, supported by the engine room of Harvey and Langton. And the shot has been called by Cardiff Met. Roderick Evans will look to bring their lead back to a 10-point margin. Griff, I know that you don't like a scrum, but you can't argue with me and say that that wasn't beautiful to watch.
It was, but Elliot Salt won't be counting his pi decimals, he'll be counting his victories if every scrum goes like that. That was brilliant. So if we get that base off, well, we don't need a base if we can get a penalty from every scrum, but in a more realistic sense, if the backs can get a base from the scrum like we've been having so far, then it's on them then to score. They've got a brilliant front foot ball then from the scrum, or either from the line out if the forwards carry on that form from the scrum to the line out. So yeah, no excuses for the backs really.
Roderick Evans lining up for what will be a huge kick for Cardiff Met in this fixture. It sails through the air, it sails through the posts. It's another 3 points for Cardiff Met. It's Cardiff Metropolitan 13, Durham University 3. And we see the Archers extend their lead back to 10 points on Cyncoed campus. Roderick Evans will definitely be thrilled with that, because if my calculations serve me right, Griff, he's now only 5 points off leading point scorer of all time, Connor Lloyd, in the BUCS Super Rugby. As Langton claims the ball from a kickoff, he's got himself in a little bit of space to bound into. We saw him in week 1 against Swansea doing exactly the same. And a lovely chip over the top from Morgan. Hopefully some pressure coming in here now from Jake Thomas on the Durham University winger, Ollie Walker. And he's been backed up by his teammates successfully. Joe Cow potentially looked to compete at that ruck, but he stood out because he doesn't want to give away the penalty. He wants to keep applying the pressure on Durham. But unfortunately, a high tackle coming in from Cardiff Met means that Durham have the opportunity to clear their lines again. They can kick their way back further up this pitch. Griff, last time round it was Cardiff Met who were caught snoozing from the kickoff. This time round it was definitely Durham.
Barney Langton occupying that space where Durham picked up that ball from the restart, and he's got his rewards, and he went straight through. I don't think the Durham attack were expecting that at all, really, because they didn't have a name on it at all, and Barney Langton just caught the ball, went straight through, and a brilliant spots there from the 9 to put the ball in behind and turn the Durham defence that was already on the back foot.
I'm telling you now, Griff, Barney Langton has definitely got Gorilla Glue on his hands this evening, because nothing is slipping out of those palms at the moment. As we see another high kick coming in from Durham University to put the pressure on the Cardiff Met backfield. And it's worked in their favour, because they'll have the scrum input on the 10-metre line inside the Cardiff Met half. Griff, we mentioned we're going to see it a lot in this game. Is it a tactic that's going to go away? Will we perhaps see a more exciting option taken from Durham to try and play their way out their half? Or is it just foolish to try that in this weather?
I think it'll be foolish, really, because we're seeing Cardiff Met on the front foot with Rory Morgan with a lovely kick in behind. He's been having a good game so far, so just spotting that space in behind the Durham defence, and in attack and in defence, I think, well, they'll be kicking a lot, really. So I don't really mind it, because I think it takes a good tactical mind to keep on kicking and in the right areas as well. So should be an exciting matchup.
Well, Durham University have worked it well onto that right wing where Paul Brown was waiting. He was chomping at the bit to get on the ball there, and he did find himself running the ball with some menace at the Cardiff Met defence and up the pitch. A great hit coming in there on the Durham University fly-half, but a penalty again conceded from Cardiff Met. Salt coming up with Chapman in defence there for another great tackle to repel the Durham University attack. Joe Cow, the latest to join the effort. Bishop with a little chip over the top, and it's been claimed by the looks of things by Ewan Guy. But the referee will bring them back because there's no advantage for the Durham University penalty.
Bit of scuffles here, James. But what can we expect, eh?
I'm sure it's to be expected in such a tense rivalry here in BUCS Super Rugby. Both these teams are renowned for their performances in this league. And speaking of performances, Griff, I've actually got an update for you from across the league. Loughborough are currently beating Cardiff University in the clash at the top of the table. It's 3-0 is the latest score from the north, and Swansea's latest score is 11-14. They trail Exeter by only 3 points. That'd be a big win for the Swansea University outfit if they can get a win over Exeter, because Exeter have proven already to be a super strong side this year.
Yeah, that's an exciting matchup there, especially with. I'm intrigued about the Loughborough Cardiff game so much. It's a top of the table matchup, and especially with Cardiff Met only few points behind them, 1 point if I'm correct. So yeah, that's a big matchup for Cardiff Met as well. So if Cardiff Uni lose that, if I'm correct in this, my calculations are correct, we will go up to second place. So as things stand, obviously, I won't want to jinx it at all. But yeah, but interesting thing for you, James. I looked at BUCS Super Rugby Instagram story earlier, and Cardiff Met were favourites to win this match.
Wow, and that's a fan vote as well, isn't it? So that's all universities
vote.
looking at that page. What was the percentage win like for Cardiff Met on that front?
So Cardiff Met were favourites by 66%. So yeah, big margin there, really, wasn't it?
66% of the vote going to Cardiff Met. It's pretty much 2/3 of the BUCS Super Rugby fan base believe that Cardiff Met can get the win this evening. And when a penalty decision is overturned because of a scuffle, because of Durham losing their heads, and now Cardiff Met march their way back towards the Durham University half, you kind of feel as though there is something in the air this evening, Griff. This is always a close contest. But there's something in the air about this evening that just leans towards Cardiff Met. I mean, I am slightly biased. I stand here in Cardiff Met gear. But it's exciting times for the Archers.
It is. A bit of a topsy-turvy start to the season, but they sit third in the table. So you can't argue with that at all. It's been a positive start, really. But a loose line-out.
That most recent line-out not going to hand, unfortunately. The wind's just catching that board. It was taken away from the grips of Brandon Harvey. And in the middle of the park, the forwards are straight back into work in terms of pressuring that Durham University attack. John Westwood with a mighty hit on Will Parry, holding him up, trying to stop any momentum developing. Billy Hipperson, again, the ever-reliable strong ball carrier in the middle of the park. Bishop looking to utilise more forward runners. A great hit coming in from Joe Cowell on Marcus Rhodes. Bishop trying to desperately get that ball out wide, but the pressure coming in from Cardiff Met means that it's not allowed. And unfortunately, at the most recent ruck, Cardiff Met give away the penalty. The referee saying not rolling away quick enough. It obviously means that coming in to compete on the ball, Bertie Taylor, was completely legal, but Cardiff Met defence just not rolling away quick enough, and Durham University will have another shot at goal. Griff, is it frustrating when you come into that ruck, perfectly legal, you get into a great position, you've worked hard to get your hands on that ball and potentially turn it over? Is it frustrating when a penalty is awarded for something you've not done?
It is, especially when you think you've won that ball back. So, yeah, it's a tough one, really, because you're so congested in that ruck. You can't see anything else that's going on. You're so concentrated on doing your job, on disrupting that ball. And then when something else doesn't go your way with a mistake from your teammate, it can be frustrating. But hey-ho, it happens, doesn't it?
I'm going to shock you now with another score update here, Griff, at Cyncoed campus. Before we get to potentially another score for Durham University, Cardiff have just scored again. So they've scored once and they've scored again. They are now 8-3 up against Loughborough away from home. That would be a huge victory for the team from the Welsh capital, just a few miles down the road from Cyncoed.
Yes, it would, really, wouldn't it? Because, as we know, Cardiff Met have lost to Cardiff Uni so far in the season. So, yeah.
The kick sails up from Will Nicholson between the posts. It's 3 more points for Durham. The referee calls it for half-time, and the score reads Cardiff Metropolitan University 13, Durham University 6 in this BUCS Super Rugby encounter here in the Welsh capital at Cyncoed campus on Fortress Cyncoed's Rugby 1 pitch. This is a huge scoreline so far, Griff, because Cardiff Met will desperately want to hold on to this lead and get the victory in this match.
Oh, I'm afraid to say it, but I think that could have been a big, big kick for Durham. As they're less than a converted try away from Cardiff Met now. So a big kick for Durham there, and they'll be going into the half with full of confidence now, knowing that a converted try would put them in the lead. So yeah, a big kick for Durham there.
Massive, massive for Durham going into this half-time break. Now, many of you watching at home may have noticed a few more moustaches out on this pitch this evening than normal. Griff is one of them because he looked across to my horrific facial hair. But that's because we are in the month of Movember. It may be November, but it's also Movember. A fantastic movement raising awareness of men's health, including men's mental health. Men often struggle to talk through their emotions and worries and should feel more open to talk about this. And with that in mind, Cyncoed, one of our reporters here at Cardiff Met Sport TV, went around campus to find out when was the last time men cried here at Cardiff Met.
When was the last time that you cried and why?
Oof. Oh. Oh, dude. Oh, God. A couple of weeks ago, just over life stress.
Probably about 5 days ago, with stresses of uni and stuff.
I don't know, a couple months ago, probably.
Last week, I think it was just the stresses of uni and being away from home, and the weather. I think seasonal depression came, and it got too much, and I just had to cry for myself in my room.
About a week ago, just stressing over my essays, etc. Just getting used to uni life. It's probably the last time.
When because I went to Kenya to come back here, and I've been back there since 2018 or so. Yeah.
I was looking out for a specific record that belongs to basically my nine's favourite singer, Nat King Cole. I was looking for his Christmas album as a record, on a vinyl, to kind of make my collection more whole, ready for Christmas. And literally a week later, he'd been out to Guildford with my mum for some random reason, went into a record shop, started speaking to the guy there, and literally found the exact album. And as soon as he handed it to me, I just broke down in tears because it all of a sudden felt like she was there with me again.
I actually don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you.
About 2 months ago, it was after a cricket game. I was quite emotional after the cricket game. Yeah, I'd probably cry for a good half an hour to an hour afterwards.
The other day when I was watching a programme and there was a couple getting married and I was with my girlfriend, and yeah, just a bit of emotion piled up really because I could maybe see that in the future, so yeah.
Grandmother sadly passed away, so that was kind of the issue there.
How are you feeling now?
Yeah, feeling better, playing sport and everything like that, gets you going.
When was the last time you cried and why?
That's a good question. I'm struggling to think of when, actually. Probably about 3-4 months ago.
Can I ask why?
I'd like to keep that personal.
That's cool. That's cool. How did you feel after?
A bit better, actually. Yeah, a bit better, but just got that emotion out, I guess. It was much needed in that time.
Perfect stuff. Thank you for being so open. Cheers.
Take care.
Wonderful piece produced by Cyncoed there, and at the end of it, it was cycling through some numbers and useful resources if you want to tap into any of these charities or movements that are available to help out with men's mental health or mental health in general. A fantastic movement, Griff, this month of Movember. What do you think of my moustache?
Didn't want to say anything, but no, it looks good. It looks good, mate. Yeah.
I'm just going to come here and
say
that Talupe Falatau actually thinks it's brilliant, and I look suave. So do you know what, I'm going to just ignore
Well,
what you said,
yeah.
and I'm going to take what man of the match from the weekend said. But it's a great movement, isn't it, Griff?
It is
wonderful to see something that supports not only men's prostate and testicular cancer, but also men's mental health and just supporting men's health in general.
It's so important as well, especially when we talk about it in the context of rugby and football and sports in general, as a lot of these men are just, and men and boys, don't feel comfortable talking up. So very important.
And we're back underway here at Cyncoed campus. It's Ethan Morgan who gets us back underway here. A very wet bounce in that middle of the pitch. So a low driven kick through the middle of the Durham University lineup. And the boys in purple will instantly look to clear their lines with a high ball. And it's been recovered after a little bit of confusion there towards the middle of the park. Cardiff Met are on the ball, and it's Elliot Salt who will take the first big carry of the second half here for Cardiff Met. Morgan looking to get that ball moving quickly, and Brandon Harvey with a carry of his own. Connor Chapman a little bit isolated there potentially, but Westwood and Thomas are there to help him. Excellent work there on the floor from Thomas to make sure that Cardiff Met had the presentation, but it's knocked on from Cardiff Met just as their attack starts to get going, which means Durham, in a way, Griff, draw first blood in the second half.
It is, yeah. Bit of a mistake there from Cardiff Met. That's not what they needed there. Going through the phases, keeping the ball tucked under the jumper, but unfortunately dropping that ball. It's easy enough mistake to do, especially in this weather. So yeah, and these big collisions in midfield, they can always dislodge the ball. So yeah, Met will try and put that behind them, go again, and just keep the momentum from the first half and stop whatever momentum Durham will start having now.
If you are just joining us in this live stream here on Cardiff Met Sport TV, Cardiff Metropolitan University are taking on Durham University in the BUCS Super Rugby Championship here in the Welsh capital on Cyncoed campus at Fortress Cyncoed Rugby 1. I'll never get tired of saying that, Griff, because I love the fact that we're here. I love this pitch. I love this team. I love a good game of rugby. And even though the rain is biblical, it's actually like an episode of a TV show, Griff. I know that you reminded me of it earlier when the mics were down. Do you want to give an insight as to what's going on out there?
Well, yeah, it's I'd like to have Richard Hammond here up here commentating, because this is more of an episode of Total Wipeout. So yeah, but so a lot of people running about, a lot of big hits, like the sucker punches in Total Wipeout. But what a show!
We've certainly got the mud pit as well because of the grass on the floor. But Ethan Morgan collecting that ball nice and calmly from the high kick of Bishop of Durham University. Cardiff Met coming under some serious pressure though at the ruck. But Cardiff Met being awarded a penalty. It was a late call actually from the referee, calling for offside from the Durham University team. Number 11 is gesturing about there. Offside from the kick. So I believe it means we're going back to where the kick was taken. So the referee will keep marching further and further back.
Big let-off there for Cardiff Met, really, because there was a good kick, putting Ethan Morgan under all sorts of pressure, but he did well. But Cardiff Met were stuck in their 22 there and expected to make an exit and probably lose ground.
A statement decision has been made there by the captain, Joe Cowell. The loosehead prop has asked Bradley Roderick Evans to go for it, go for the 3 points. Is that the right decision, Griff, this early on in the second half?
I think it is, yeah. Get the points ticking over in the second half, so we'll be more than a converted try ahead then. So I think it's a great option to go for that kick, especially with the trusty boot of Bradley Roderick Evans. And if he gets this, he'll only be 2 points away from that all-time record. But it's a big kick, it's a big ask.
It's a huge ask in conditions such as this. We've compared it to Total Wipeout. We've compared it to the biblical rain in the Bible. But hopefully we will see Bradley Roderick Evans bolt this ball through all of it. is up. The ball is through. It did. It bolted through the air to bring Cardiff Met 3 points further ahead. And just as that kick sailed through, another one sailed through in the north. Loughborough have now tied the game with Cardiff University. It's 10 apiece up at Loughborough. Griff, that is huge news, because a draw for those two teams and a win here for Cardiff Met this evening could see the Archers glide into the top spot of the BUCS Super Rugby Championship table, as Brandon Harvey, again, cool as a cucumber, took that ball under immense pressure coming in there from Paul Brown, and Met have a chance to clear their lines. Another difficult high ball for Nicholson to deal with, and he offloads it to Rhodes, who looks to go on a run of his own, but he is stopped early by the Cardiff Met defence. Arthur Green just slipping through the grasp of Brandon Harvey there. USA Eagles under-20s captain is looking for blood. Wants to make a big hit in defence, as does every member of this Cardiff Metropolitan side. And Roderick Evans will clear. Far down the field, and it's been spilt by Nicholson. Just on the touchline, into touch. So Cardiff Met now have a line out deep in Durham University territory. It's a great attacking opportunity, Griff. I want to see another fantastic backs attack move straight off the training ground here.
So do I, so do I. It'll all depend on front football off the top of this line out, which is a tough ask in these conditions, as we see Connor Chapman here wiping his hands. They've gone for the scrum, have they?
Yes, Captain Cower has been given the decision, actually, because he was knocked on into touch by Durham University's Nicholson, so it means he can either have a scrum or a line out. And with the dominant pack that Cardiff Met have at their disposal, it is no surprise that they have opted for a scrum. And by the looks of things, we've had Jack Wickham join us on the pitch, the Cornwall under-20s back rower, and apparently he can open a bottle of beer with anything. So hopefully he can open this Durham University defence up just as easily and snipe his way through for maybe a few tries of his own.
Don't want to blow my own horn, James, but that's one of my secret talents as well.
I can actually do it with a piece of paper, Griff.
With a piece of paper?
That's my parley trick.
Right. Okay, you'd rather warm up on me then.
Don't ask me to do it this evening, though, because my paper's probably a bit soggy.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be as successful as normal. But the referee is calling attention to something. I think it's because of the condition of the ground underneath the scrum, so he's just moving the play slightly closer to the touchline for a bit more solid ground. And that way we should see a more solid scrum and a more even scrum take place. So it's Ewan Guy who has left the pitch. It's potentially because of an injury. We don't know currently, but all we can do is just wish him the best and hope that it's nothing too serious, Griff. As I say, it does mean we've seen the introduction of Jack Wickham, no stranger to BUCS Super Rugby action, and none other than Bond, Jake Bond, moves on to the open side flank. You liked that one, didn't you? You're smiling.
Yeah, I did like that one.
Thank you. I've been sitting on that one for a few weeks now. As Westwood has it out in the back line, and Roderick Evans is looking to use the width on the play here, but it's been spilt by Thomas just at the crucial moment. He had the acres of space in front of him to exploit, Griff. He'll be kicking himself because of that.
Yeah, I think there was a bit to say about the pass as well. The pass was actually fired towards him, and you've got to be a bit more gentle in these sorts of conditions, because you cannot expect the wingers to catch an absolute cannonball coming their way, especially under pressure. So yeah, but he will be kicking himself, because a man of his talents, he can run those in. And we've seen his pace open up the Durham defence already this match with some excellent running lines. So yeah, why not again, really?
Absolutely. I can't wait to see him sniping with that ball again, hopefully getting another try for Cardiff Met. And there is another BUCS Super Rugby fixture on currently this evening up in the north. Loughborough are taking on Cardiff Uni, and the latest score from that fixture for the top of the table clash is Loughborough 13, Cardiff Uni 10. Griff, you are obviously surprised by that.
Yes, I am, yeah. So seems like an exciting game over there in Loughborough. So we'll see how that ends up, really. But at the moment, I presume these Cardiff Met players don't know what's going on in that game, but a beautiful spiral kick from Ewan Bowden.
Oh, luckily it looks to be stopping just before the dead ball line. So it means that all Paul Brown can do is just dot that down for a goal line dropout. And whilst people may think that all of the excitement is up in the north at Loughborough, I think all the excitement is down here, Griff. We've got such a brilliant game on our hands here. Only 10 points currently separate the two sides, vying to get towards those top 2 positions in the table that they so dearly would love to take.
It's a big clash, this, to be fair. And let's be honest, they've fronted up. The players have been playing really well, especially, I think, the forwards here. The backs haven't had that much platform to work off because obviously it's tough conditions to work in. But yeah, both teams have been playing really well for so far.
It was an offside call though from the referee against Cardiff Metropolitan University. Bradley Roderick Evans went for the chip through, but his Cardiff Met team weren't quite on side when they went in to help him and help put pressure on the Durham University's fullback, Will Nicholson, sorry, not Jack Nicholson. Known for a lot of films. Will Nicholson definitely won't be. But the pressure was put on legally, and so Durham University will have the ball again. Penalty in their favour. I don't think they would have kicked the ball away after the referee blew his whistle if they knew it was their own penalty. But they do now find themselves with the ball, and we do also see the introduction of Tyler Olding onto the pitch. The replacement hooker has come on for Connor Chapman. Met by no means picking a second choice hooker. He started the first couple of games of BUCS Super Rugby this season. He is electric with ball in hand. He is feisty when it comes to the rucks, Griff. He can turn a ball over like you can turn bread. He's a great man to watch out on that rugby pitch.
Yes, he is. Yeah, a powerful runner. He'll be crossing, looking to cross that gain line every time from the pod carry. So yeah, an exciting addition. You can't really complain when having Tyler Olding come off your bench, really, can you?
Absolutely not. We look to see if Met will put some pressure in defence, and they did with Barney Langton, who wasn't enough to stop Durham getting their hands on the ball and working well in attack there. Joe Westwood met the attacking snipe of Mikey Ford so well there. Let's take a bit of a knock. He's shaking it off. Durham University now on the front foot in attack. But it's that man who just come onto the pitch, Olding, looking to hold up the advancement of Jacob Head, the Durham University hooker. And a fellow member of his front row, Oscar Stott, looked to almost find a hole in the Cardiff Met defence here on Rugby 1, but he was scooped up by Rory Morgan. And the referee calls a stop to the play because he is pulling up on Joe Westwood. I think he did take quite a big knock in the middle of the park.
A knock to a head, I think, as well, James.
Absolutely. So we will see him, but most likely leave this pitch. He is holding his face. I think he's got a bit of a nosebleed coming on, so we will see him depart from the park. It is a shame because he has been electrifying in every game he's played so far this season. But Met, as I say, with plenty of strength and depth on their bench, Griff. It's interesting to note, actually, that unsurprisingly, many of the boys in the rugby club have nicknamed him Bob Ross. One of the great artists in this world, and Joe Westwood, one of the great artists of this rugby pitch and this rugby club, because he paints such a brilliant picture there in the centre with David Tueti and with Bingo Ivanisevic when they're playing together. He's been stellar for Cardiff Met this year.
He has, in defence and attack, to be fair. As I said, we've seen him score multiple tries. He scored against Nottingham at home here, and he scored against Hartbury twice 2 weeks ago. So yeah, he's a brilliant player in attack, but I think the shots he puts in defence are something to behold. He puts his body on the line, as we've seen just there now, stepping out of that line and just trying to shut that attack down in its roots, really, and just trying to get man on ball with that number 12, so a big loss really.
A huge shove coming in though from the Cardiff Met pack. I'm so surprised to see that wasn't awarded as a penalty at the scrum. But a huge hit coming in the middle of the park, inspired by none other than Dav Tueti, pairing up with number 22, Brad Morgan, who's come onto the pitch. The Hartbury and Gloucester under 18, bringing plenty of experience into this Cardiff Met side. And after what will have been a bit of a disappointment for the Cardiff Met Old Vultures looking on, having not won that scrum penalty. That huge hit coming in from the centre partnership for the Archers has definitely inspired them into a sing-song, Griff.
It has. And this Durham attack will not know what to do next. The only option they have is to kick the ball, because their attack is being shut down right at its roots, and it's brilliant to see, really, especially with just the ferocity of the defence that we're seeing from Cardiff Met. So, yeah, a brilliant watch, really, and it's been a defensive masterclass from the set play from the backs.
It plays exactly into what Joe Cal said to me earlier on yesterday about how it may have been a rest week, but the squad was still working hard. They were still exercising those muscles with the coveted Di Watts, and they are looking just as strong and just as fresh as ever out on that BUCS Super Rugby pitch tonight.
They are, yeah, they are, and it makes a world of difference to have a week of break as well, because this is no doubt, it's a tough league with the physicality through the roof in every match. So they'll certainly need to rest themselves and just freshen up for this Wednesday, really, because I think so. Yeah, I'd be happy with a break. I'll be telling you that now. And as you say, it seems to have made a difference.
Absolutely. A special mention quickly to Ewan Bowden on this left wing here, wearing the coveted number 11 jersey, normally worn by Roma Zheng, who's absent in this fixture today, Griff, but he's certainly stepped up to the mark, and he's having a terrific game so far on that wing, having to come up against the likes of Paul Brown, who earlier on this year was in the England Sevens training camp in Croatia, so we know he's definitely a ball-carrying threat, and he's doing very well on this left wing.
He is, yeah. He's been playing at full-back for Cardiff Met so far this season, shifting up to the wing, so we'll see how he does, how he fares for the rest of this match, really.
And just as we mentioned one wing, it's another great performance from the other Cardiff Met winger, Jake Thomas, who's punted the ball down the pitch into the Durham 22, and he's led the charge to put the pressure on the Durham University side to try and reclaim possession inside the Durham 22 and put that team under some significant pressure. And again, it's another kick charge down by the ever-present Barney Langton. That pressure, we speak about it time and time again, Griff, the pressure coming in very well from the Cardiff Met defence.
It is. We've seen a fair few charge downs so far from Cardiff Met. They're looking for that, looking for that around the ruck, especially with some tall second row partnerships. So yeah, it's been a positive set for them in the rucking context of it. So just they'll be looking to keep that going during this match, because they know the kick is coming, especially as it's been coming all game, really. So yeah, just keep on putting pressure on that 9 and on that 10.
Cardiff Met operating a slightly shortened line out to reflect the only 4 men that Durham University have, and they look to set up a driving maul, much as the Archers did, but it's a penalty against Durham University. They were offside at the line out. It'll be interesting to see what Joe Cal opts for his team. He's eyeing those posts, he's talking to his kicker, and indeed he has opted for the 3 points. And during this time now, as they set up for the 3-point attempt for Cardiff Met, I'm going to bring in another score update for you, Griff. Swansea University are now trailing Exeter by 10 points. It's 11-21, slightly further down the M4 at the moment in that BUCS Super Rugby clash. It would be a big win for Exeter, but Swansea letting the game go by the looks of things. They won't want to slip any further down that table.
Not at all, because they've only got one place to go, and that's slap bang at the bottom. So no, yeah, that's a poor outing from Swansea, really, because Exeter, but as we know, Exeter are a class act.
If my calculations are correct, Griff, I sound like a mathematician when I say that, I love it, a rocket scientist. If he makes this kick, which Bradley Roderick Evans has done, he has officially scored 14 points in this encounter today. He is officially the all-time BUCS Super Rugby leading point scorer, beating out none other than Connor Lloyd by a single point so far, and we've still got the entire season to play, Griff. This is phenomenal. He's extended the lead to 13 points. Cardiff Met lead 19 points to 6 here against Durham University. That is an incredible A credible performance for that man.
We've only played 7 games so far. And he's got it already, so fair play to him. That's an excellent achievement, with the ball going straight out. Durham under pressure. Ball back to Cardiff Met. So let's hope for an exciting backs move here again, shall we? Hey?
Backs move, definitely. Backs try, 100%. Backs game, probably not in this rain,
no,
but I 100% want to see it. So Cardiff Met will have the input at the scrum here, on the halfway line, and it's none other than Patrick Bishop's kick that was overcooked, unfortunately. Unlike the lamb on lots of Gordon Ramsay's shows, that remains to be very undercooked at the moment. Griff, that kick was completely overcooked, overdone. I probably wouldn't even pair it with a sauce.
We're seeing a lot of space here behind the scrum. Could be an opportunity to dink this in behind, put them under pressure in the 22.
It's a great scrum from the Cardiff Met pack. We've talked about the quality and the strength and depth in that front row, and Roderick Evans has seemed to find a little hole. He's stepped off one foot, he's stepped off the other. He's had to have 3 Durham players take him down onto the floor. Rory Morgan is looking for options out the back, and he's found Tuetti, who's also found the Eagle, Brandon Harvey. He's taken the ball forward and he's set up a lovely position for Met to play from, but a chip over the top has been spilt by Nicholson. Rory Morgan with the chip, and a penalty for Cardiff Met.
What a run from Bradley or Roderick Evans.
It was the catalyst. It was the catalyst for this amazing moment that Cardiff Met now find themselves in a super attacking position. Griff, by the looks of things, they're going to go for the corner, because when you've got a lead this big, you definitely want to extend it as far as you can. And maybe at this stage we start talking about a bonus point potentially if they can score 4.
Hopefully they can, because especially we don't want to be giving Durham, which are only 2 points behind Cardiff Met at the moment, we do not want to be giving them the losing bonus point. So might be an important aspect to get a big lead in here, to keep the buffer in and keep Durham at bay in the league and in the game.
And with just about 20 minutes, I should say, left to play in this encounter, Joe Cowell and Elliot Salt are exchanged off the pitch for Ben Murphy and Matty Scott, 2 amazing front rowers who are part of that super dominant display for Cardiff Met against Nottingham here at Cyncoed campus. And we are seeing a dominant 15-man maul almost as they drive ever closer to the Durham line, and they've scored! It's none other than Tyler Rowling, who's going to come up off the floor, Griff, with the ball after scoring what will be a crucial try in this encounter. Cardiff Met's 2nd score of the game. They've been utilising that driving maul so well in the early exchanges, and now they have their reward, a great try.
Hopefully they'll be going 26-6 ahead, 20 points ahead now. That'd be a massive lead for them, but it all came from that Bradley Roderick Evans run, I should say. And then a brilliant, and they showed some courage going for the corner, going for that driving maul. I saw Brad Morgan absolutely pelting it into the maul, looking to help out giving a helping hand, I'm trying to say, to the forwards. And yeah, they went over the line with an excellent driving maul, really, especially in the conditions. I keep saying it, but the conditions are playing a big part in this game. But Cardiff Met have done very well to nullify the effects of it so far.
There's also going to be 2 more points, hopefully, for Bradley Roderick Evans to extend his lead now over Conor Lloyd in the all-time BUCS Super Rugby scores.
Should we get a statue in?
I think we'll need more than a statue to honour this man, who unfortunately just pulls it slightly to the left. I'm going to blame your commentator curse on that, Griff. If you were talking about a statue, I think that would be a good idea, you know. Or maybe we could have something here at the pitch for him. We could name a corner flag after him, or even a dugout.
Yeah, a dugout.
A dugout. The Bradley Roderick Evans dugout, which is exactly what he seems to be making his way to now, unfortunately. So we do see the exit of Brad Roderick Evans, and indeed the exit of Rory Morgan in this fixture, and a score update coming from another big game in this BUCS Super Rugby Championship. Loughborough University now lead Cardiff University 16 points to 10. Griff, they have extended their score by 6 points. It means that Cardiff University will need a converted try to get the lead back in that fixture. That is huge at the top of the table.
So far, Cardiff Met will be looking at second place if things stay as they are so far.
Cardiff Met now have just extended their lead. If you are just joining us, we're here at Cyncoed campus for the BUCS Super Rugby Championship match between Cardiff Metropolitan University and Durham University. The scores currently sitting at Cardiff Met 24, Durham 6. We've got just under 20 minutes left to play in this encounter. The high ball utilised by the replacement scrum half. Ali Stacey there, incredibly well. Great defensive charge from Cardiff Met to put Durham University under pressure. And Brandon Harvey again went to go and pressure the scrum half. As we see Ethan Morgan take that ball as cool as a cornetto, and he hoofs it down the pitch. Nicholson collects with safe hands. So it will be a Cardiff Met do give away possession with the line-out, but the referee is calling them back for something. I think
he didn't tap it before he kicked it out. If you call the mark, I think you have to tap it and then kick it out if you're going to go on a full.
I was going to be leaning to you on that, Griff, because you are fitter, faster and thinner than me. You are a back and you would know these things. I as a forward just know to take the ball and run straight, and that's about it. And a few words in English. But that's all you need when you're playing in a scrum. But as actually we spoke about in the first half, Elliot Salt disproving that with his 50 digits of pi. But we now see an entirely new front row on the pitch for Cardiff Met. It's Tyler Aldington at the hooker, Ben Murphy and Matty Scott either side of him. It's not the pack that we spoke about at the beginning, but it's still a hugely strong pack who proved very dominant against Nottingham University. I would love to see another big shove coming in here, Griff.
Oh, I would as well. Because this is a good platform for Durham to go, but it is a big push.
I don't understand how another penalty hasn't been given, but Durham don't care. They've hacked the ball through. It was Bishop who looked to try and get the ball going, but it has been knocked on in defence by Cardiff Met. So Durham University will have the put in at the scrum. Durham obviously not wanting to play the ball through their backline, Griff, here. They definitely want to try and utilise the kicking game and the greasy, slippery conditions. Is that a signal of perhaps too much pressure coming in from Cardiff Met for them to deal with?
Well, that was exactly what I was thinking. No, I think they're quite lucky that the conditions are as they are, because if we wouldn't have a greasy surface and a greasy ball, I think this Durham attack would be in huge trouble, because Cardiff Met have had them under control throughout this game, and the only thing that's kept them in the match is the kicking game.
It was another dominant scrum there from Cardiff Met, but Durham got the ball out too quickly for it to make an impact, and now it's Rhodes who was shoveling forwards with the ball. Durham University could get the ball out quickly and could put Cardiff Met under some serious pressure, and they are driving ever closer to that try line, but the referee says the ball has been held up by Cardiff Met. Durham University have bottled another chance to get a try in this fixture, and Cardiff Met will have a goal line dropout. As we saw earlier in the first half, we're in the second half now, Griff. As we saw earlier in the first half itself, Durham University aren't afraid to return this ball with a shot at goal themselves with that drop kick, even though we know that Nicholson doesn't like the drop ball.
No, he doesn't, but a good kick there.
It's gone nice and deep down the pitch, and Paul Brown now has some space to run into. He'll look to use that electric footwork and strong drive. He almost broke through, but he was pulled down by Ben Murphy in the middle of the park. Jake Thomas looked to bite in a little bit there in defence, and so Durham have run around the outside of him and a chip through, looked to try and find some more space, but it has been covered extremely well by Cardiff Met in the backfield. The referee will call time off for another replacement to come onto the pitch. It's a triple substitution now for Durham University. Sam Shanks, Joe Collier and Charlie Coe will come onto the pitch. Sam Shanks, the local boy up Durham way. He's got some experience up with Darlington Modern Park, as do some of the team. They're currently involved with them in their domestic league championship. Wait to see what sort of impact they will make in this fixture, because the Archer Ultras aren't making it easy for Durham to take the line out here, 5 metres out from the Cardiff Met try area, and they do spill the ball, and Cardiff Met will claim it and look to clear their lines, but first a carry to try and set up a better position. Griff, would you say that was great defence from the Cardiff Met team on the pitch, or great defence from the 16th man off it?
Well, the 16th man, that was an absolute... they were just putting that hooker under so much pressure. And yet again, we hear them again. And yeah, they make so much difference in attack and defence. So yeah, they are an important part to this team. But as I say that, I think that was just brilliant defence, brilliant read from the lineouts. And yeah, well stolen in the end.
Brings me familiarities between the Ultras reaction and the French rugby crowd when a kick is being taken or a throw is being taken. Always wanting to apply the pressure and get behind their team. And Durham wants to go long with that line out effort. It's claimed very well in the save back to James Bell, sorry to say, but spilt in the middle of the park. The referee calling for offside against Cardiff Met this time. In defence, Durham University gave away a similar penalty not too long ago. Now it's Cardiff Met whose discipline just slipped at the key moment. The ball is handed across to Patrick Bishop, and the captain is looking to go to the corner. Griff, Durham need points to get back into this match, so desperately need a try, a converted try really, if they're to have any chance of getting back in this fixture.
Cardiff Met need to be careful here. They've had 3 penalties on the bounce now go against them, taking them back to dangerous areas, and a bit of a let-up there for them. They had Durham under the cosh, and now they're back in the Cardiff Met 22 with another chance. So yeah, Cardiff Met need to switch on again here, turn the screw, make sure that they keep Durham to only the 6 point that they have.
Durham setting up a ferocious driving ball there, and it's broken off! The hooker's broken free and they've scored! It's Jacob Head! He featured in last year's team, he featured in last year's quarterfinals. He had big shoes to fill with the departing captain at that hooker position. And he is dotted down for Durham University's first try of this game. The scores now read Cardiff Met 24, Durham University 11. With the conversion kick still to come. Griff, we said they were going to go to the corner because that's exactly what they needed to do to get the try. If they get this full 7 points here from it, they've done exactly what they will have wanted to do to get back in this fixture.
Exactly, James. They've got a target now. They've got something to chase. If he gets this kick, they'll only be 11 points behind. So they've got a realistic goal now. So seriously something for them to chase, and for Cardiff Met to nullify and stop this momentum as Durham have their tails up.
We haven't mentioned the total wipeout scenery here in front of us for a while, but it is still pouring down. I'd imagine many students will be calling out of the first year rooms just for a free shower at this stage, Griff, because the rain just isn't stopping.
A cold shower at that though, James. I wouldn't like being, well, not under a roof. Let's put it that way. I'd like to be inside because my feet are quite cold. But hey ho.
Don't worry, Griff. We'll huddle together like penguins and stay warm in this weather. Then the kicker sailed over. The conversion was made. The full 7 points have been obtained by Durham University, and it's another triple substitution. Gus Lovett is introducing himself into this fixture. The member in charge of sponsorship at the club at Durham University Rugby Club, and also the introduction of Josh Chinyemba, an accounting and finance student, and also Max Morphy, Wasps under-18s experience, and also the Wasps ACE programme at the City of Oxford College to his name, so they'll be bringing in a plethora of experience into this already strong Durham University side. We are back underway, and the high ball is dealt with extremely well there on the far side of the pitch, and Met will try and ship the ball out to the opposite wing. But a kick deep is what we've opted for. And it's
good
bobbling.
kick as well.
It's bobbling, it's bouncing. It proved to be a bit of an issue. Is that a knock-on? The Archer fans seem to think so. Everyone up in this country seems to think so. But the 2 men in the yellow jersey that matter most out on that pitch to make that decision say no. And it will be a line out to Cardiff Met just outside the Durham University 22. Griff, what did you make of that moment?
It did seem forward at first, but I think it must have gone back. the referee surely would have had a good view of this, and the linesman as well, but it's ended up in a massive territory game for Cardiff Met. That's exactly what we want. We want to be playing in Durham's half and keeping them down here, because we do not want them racking up the points.
A little bit of a fumble there when it comes to line-out time. Means that the ball is turned over to the Durham University side. Slight knock-on there, but we have seen the introduction of Sam Trott, who joins us here, the number 23, coming onto the Cyncoed campus pitch in BUCS Super Rugby. I believe it's his first appearance, Griff. Fantastic to see more players developing through the Cardiff Metropolitan University pathway and making it out here onto the Wednesday night lights pitch at Cyncoed campus. And again, he brings in a plethora of experience. London Irish Ace programme to his name. He's definitely been developed entirely throughout his youth at a very good level, with it being the local development opportunities where I am at home. But a huge shove from the Cardiff Met pack. They finally get their reward. It's been coming for what feels like hours at this stage, Griff. Every scrum they've been dominant, and they've finally been rewarded with a penalty. That's exactly what they will have wanted after Durham have scored against them.
An excellent shove there, and exactly what they want. Are they going for the post? Who knows? Are they? I think they are. It's a post call, a good call for me as well. They're 11 points ahead at the moment, and yeah, a much needed 3 points to turn the tide and stop Durham's momentum. Because I was a bit worried there at the moment, really, because I did think that Durham was starting to rack up a bit of momentum, having the tails up, and looking to play and looking to put Cardiff Met under pressure, as it should say.
You're worried, were you, Griff?
Yeah, I was.
Don't be worried. I'm sure Bradley Roderick Evans is going to put your nerves at ease. Hopefully, with this kick sailing over.
Ethan Morgan.
Ethan Morgan. I'm just so addicted to watching him play. That's the problem, Griff. But it's Ethan Morgan. 3 extra points for Cardiff Metropolitan University. A 17-point buffer. Hopefully your nerves have been put at ease here, Griff, because Met have extended their lead again. Durham perhaps drifting away in this fixture now. Not too much time left remaining. We've got just under 5 minutes according to our clocks here at the side of the pitch. What do you make of the situation, Griff?
Hopefully so. I think with the time, with only 5 minutes or so left, I think this is Cyncoed in the bag now. Just, but I don't want to talk too soon. But yeah, I think this is in the bag. Cardiff Met are looking. They've had a few substitutions in. They've had fresh legs in, and they're looking like a different side. A side that's got a bit more energy about them. And if they can play in Durham's half for most of this 5 minutes, well, I don't see any way back for Durham.
The commendable thing is that despite the conditions, Cardiff Met are still willing to try and run this ball through the middle of the park, Griff, and run it with intent at the Durham University defence. And now we see another scrum, and hopefully another dominant shove from the Cardiff Met pack, and it has been a must be a penalty. It is! And whilst they might have lost the ball at the kickoff, they've regained it almost instantly. It's a scrum that can't be rivalled so far in this BUCS Super Rugby League, Griff.
A massive scrum there. A superb scrum. That's got the chance to put them back into Durham's half.
It's not made touch, unfortunately, though. Paul Brown is on the ball. He's got a bit of open field in front of him, but he is driven back by none other than the number 8, Bertie Taylor, who's had a great game there, also leading the way forward for the Cardiff Met forward pack. That group of 8 have been on fire this evening, and still firing on all cylinders. Bishop now with the ball, punting it down the field. Ethan Morgan with the reliable hand, takes it and returns it straight back to Nicholson. And it looks like we've got a bit of kick tennis on our hands here, as Ewan Bowden comes across his wing to collect the ball in the middle of the park. He's going down that far touchline, a late charge down. A late charge down on Bowden, actually. I know the ball found touch, but that was a very late collision coming in there from Sam Shanks. The touch judge on this near side doesn't seem to be saying too much about it, and the referee in the touch on the far side don't seem to be saying too much about that. Griff, what do you make of that little interaction?
Yeah, I would have thought he would have been penalised for that, but fair play to Ian Bowden. An excellent kick under the pressure. He was in. So yeah, finding grass and bouncing out into touch. Cardiff Met have won that territory battle. So yeah, a good result, a positive result for Cardiff Met. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, a good result for them, and they're back into Durham's half. Let's be looking to keep them in here now with a shortened line out, as we see.
Well, to many watching on this evening, that play from Sam Shanks was probably about as legal as a robbery in a bank. But Cardiff Met will be putting on a strong line-out defence here to try and reclaim the ball off Durham University. Hopefully not to give away another penalty for being offside and creeping forward too early in defence. We know how keen Tyler Olding, who is sitting back in this defensive effort, he'll be so keen to snipe forwards and make a huge collision in the middle of the park to stop Durham University's attack. As the catch is uncontested for Durham University, and they look to use a lot of out-the-back movement, but it's read beautifully by Brad Morgan with a sublime hit there in the middle of the park. And Nicholson again can't find a hole. Instead he finds Tuetti, who just knocks him back. And Brandon Harvey applies the pressure. It must have been spilt forwards. And it has, but the referee is penalising Cardiff Met for a high tackle there in their most recent defensive effort. Griff, we're so far into this game now, but Cardiff Met just don't seem to be stopping. They can still run just as hard as they did in the first few minutes of the match.
There's a momentous tackle there from Brad Morgan. Unfortunately slipping a bit high for the referees, to the referee's opinion, but I thought it was a brilliant hit. So yeah, it's the intensity in defence has been excellent, hasn't it? We've been seeing the centres fly up, nullify that Durham attack in its roots, and it's been excellent to watch, really, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching the rugby this evening. I'm sure everyone tuning in to this live stream on Cardiff Met Sport TV will have been enjoying it as well, as Cardiff Metropolitan take on Durham University in the capital of Wales. And another big heavy run there from Will Parry. We've not seen much of him in this game, but when we do, he's been incredibly effective for the Durham attack. And another great carry from Mickey Carr, the replacement prop, taking the ball strong. It's Chinyemba again, looking for a hole, trying to work those feet. Beautiful play out the back from Bishop, but it's spilt! It's been spilt by Lovett. Just as he tries to make his first big impactful carry of the game, it's popped forward and it's popped back into Cardiff Met hands. And they'll look to set up a ruck, set up a base to play from here, Griff. Hopefully get themselves further up this pitch. But Ethan Morgan says that's enough. We've got an advantage here for Durham University, which came from a knock-on. No, an advantage for Cardiff Met. The players don't know what's going on with the ref decisions. We don't know what's going on with the ref decisions. Lots of the fans are back in voice, though. And I believe Ali Stacey is holding the ball, so hopefully that means it's a Cardiff Met scrum. But we don't know if that's the final word at this stage, Griff.
There were so many hand signals there. I thought the ref was trying to guide a plane into.
I was about to say, is he ushering in a BA flight, or is he trying to bring a rugby match to a restart? But we are going to get back underway here with a Cardiff Met scrum. Potentially Ethan Morgan thought that time was up. The clock down here on Rugby 1 is in the red. But remember, our clocks won't be synced up with the referee's watch on his wrist. So there could be all to play for still, with Cardiff Met holding a 14-point lead, and that scrum again inching further forwards. And Ali Stacey opts for the high ball off his boot and chases it up the pitch along with the Cardiff Met centre partnership of Morgan and Tuetti. Met now organise themselves into a great defensive structure, but the ball has somehow escaped loose. Offloads flying in left, right and centre like they were going out of fashion from Durham, but one of them has gone forward, and so it will be a Cardiff Met scrum, because he's only chosen to use one hand gesture there, Griff, so that's a little bit simpler to follow. So we will have a Cardiff Met scrum, a forward pass, and the clock will tick down even closer to that 80-minute mark.
Ewan Bowden on this near side here, asking his Cardiff Met coaches what the time is and how much time is left, because we're seeing it at 41 minutes and nearly at 42 minutes on this on the Cardiff Met Rugby 1 clock, and rightfully so, he's asking what the time is. They want to be kicking this out, getting this game over with.
What's the time, Mr. Ref? A playground favourite of every young rugby player coming out through the system. And another strong penalty. The Cardiff Met scrum just cannot be rivalled in this fixture, and they win another penalty. Do you go for the 3 points here, Griff, or do you go for the corner and you rub salt in the wound of the Durham University team and you score your 3rd try of the game?
Well, it seems like they're going for the corner, which is a very courageous move, to be fair.
Do you know what, that fills me with joy though, Griff, because it means it's another opportunity to watch this fantastic Cardiff Met pack drive again, not just in a scrum, but hopefully in a maul, and drive their way closer to that try line. It's been a fantastic game to watch. It's giving me a good moment now, actually, Griff, as we're coming to the closing stages. Can you give me a player of the match? Or is it just too hard? Are you going to need a bit more time?
Give me a bit more time and I'll name it for you.
Well, it's a good thing I've given you some more time, because Cardiff Met have gone quick here, but again, the reliable hands of Barney Langton, hands more reliable than a phone signal here in lots of Cardiff, and Cardiff Met will march their way further forwards. It's still the same maul. Tyler Olding is eventually brought down though, but illegally the penalty advantage is with Cardiff Met. The referee looking to make sure that Durham don't concede another one, and instead he brings them back for the penalty in favour of Cardiff Met. Jake Spurway of Durham's having a little bit of afters there with Ethan Morgan. It's a bit too late now to be leaving the aggression until the end of the match, Griff. It would have helped them. Would have helped them close this 14-point margin, which is now hopefully going to be extended to 17 points. Because I saw the referee point his fingers at the sticks, and the Cardiff Met team are starting to congratulate themselves. I believe this could potentially be the end of the match if this kick flies over. And just to give you another update, the rain has not stopped. We're definitely set for total wipeout if you're up for it, Griff. I'm not sure Richard Hammond's available this last minute. But Ethan Morgan will line up. The ball sails through the air. It's unfortunately not made it, but the full-time whistle is blown. Durham are denied a losing bonus point. Cardiff Met will take the win, 27 points to 13 here at Cyncoed campus in BUCS Super Rugby, and what has been a superb clash to watch. Griff, what a game.
A brilliant game there. Oh, we've been seeing some excellent performances from Cardiff Met over the last few weeks, but I think this is up there. 3rd place against 5th place. So a big result for them, and a big thrashing, 27-13 for Cardiff Met at the end of the day here. So yeah, an excellent game here, and we've been seeing some outstanding performances, and I'm finally ready for my player of the match, if you'd have me say
Hit me with it, Griff. Tell me who has achieved your man of the match. Tell me more, as they say in a hit musical.
Well, we've had a few brilliant performances from the front pack. So we've had the front rowers with yet another dominant performance in the scrums, but for me it'll have to go to Bradley Roderick-Evans, the all-time top scoring player in BUCS Super Rugby. That's an excellent achievement, and the record that will hopefully stand for a few years to come.
Well, he's going to keep adding to it as this season goes on, that's for sure. And we're going to give you a brief update of the scores across the rest of BUCS Super Rugby. Swansea University still trailing to Exeter University. It's now 16 points for Swansea, 31 points for Exeter, and they've only got a few minutes left on the clock there. Down across the M4 if you head west. You won't be able to catch the end of it if you're travelling from Cardiff. It's a bit too far away, but still a very exciting match has been had down that way. And Loughborough remains 16 points to 10 up against Cardiff in the top of the table clash. Now, Griff, Bradley Roderick-Evans is your player of the match, but there have been some other outstanding performances on this park today. I mean, before Joe Westwood went off, he was having a great game, but we did see the introduction of Brad Morgan, who also had a fantastic game again. But it's interesting I mentioned those centres, because it was also David Tueti. He seemed on fire today. He was playing like a man possessed in defence, making big hit after big hit.
He's such an influential performer for Cardiff Met in defence, because he just steps out, he makes the tackles, he makes some absolute crunching hits at times, and he organises that defence. He's the calm in that storm, and he's an excellent performer in that defence, especially in the 12 or 13 position. He can do both. It's a blessing to have him in that defence, really.
It's been a fantastic game as well, not only in the forward pack, but also, not only backs I should say, but also in the forward pack, because both front rows have been on fire today. We've seen how dominant their displays has been, and I'm just going to turn your attention, Griff, now, before we leave this pitch, to what's going on in the next round for both sides. They're both going to be at home. Cardiff Met will be playing Leeds Beckett, and Durham will look to get their BUCS Super Rugby campaign back on track with a fixture against Exeter. By no means for either side an easy encounter.
No, not at all, but I would back Cardiff Met against Leeds Beckett all day. So hopefully a win for them there, because Leeds Beckett at the bottom of the table, if I'm correct. So yeah, they'll be fancying their chances there, and hopefully come away with a bonus point and win. As we see them now going for the thunderclap with their fans. A totally deserved thunderclap as well, isn't it, James?
Absolutely. We can see how much it means to the players and coaches for getting the win today. We can see how much it means to the fans who have been down here despite the conditions against the play, despite the conditions against anyone wanting to come out and watch a game of rugby today. But Cardiff Met have prevailed with the victory here at Cyncoed campus. They are victors, 27 points to 13 against Durham University. What a fixture we've had. Join us next time for another BUCS Super Rugby encounter between Cardiff Met and Leeds Beckett University, and make sure you keep up to date with BUCS Super Rugby across the social media, and indeed with Cardiff Met Sport TV, which is found across all good social media platforms as well, if you'd like to stay up to date with our coverage of all the amazing sports here on offer at Cardiff Met University. Well, all that's time left for me to do is to thank you so much, Griff, for joining me up here in commentary today. Have you had fun?
I've had a lot of fun, yeah. A total wipeout fun, that's right.
A total wipeout of fun. Thank you so much for tuning in here back home, and thank you so much to everyone who's put this stream on today. Diolch yn fawr. Goodbye.
Julep.